Welcome back to Flex Your Head, another special episode of Scream Therapy. On Flex Your Head, we take a breather from punk rock and mental health and explore classic punk albums, which I guess is good for mental health. And we're back. Here we are again. This is episode 20 of Flex Your Head. Episode 19 was a mere 2 years ago. I could not believe that when I looked it up on the roster there. Joining us again today, he was on episode 19 as well, so very telling, is my good buddy Nelson from Nelson. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good. Do you remember the last album we talked about before this one? 2 years ago?
Corrosion of COC?
Close.
No.
It was the one after that. It's got corn stalks on the front cover.
Oh, Against the Grain.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Wow.
So what about today? What are we talking about?
We are talking about Poison Idea, Feel the Darkness.
Feel the Darkness is Poison Idea's third album. It was released in 1990 on Vinyl Solutions and also American Leather Records, which is the band's label. The members of the band on this album are Jerry A., aka Jerry Lang, on vocals, Aldine Strychnine on guitar, Pig Champion, also on guitar, The Slayer Hippie on drums, and Myrtle Tickner on bass. And then a few of the songs on this album, bass was played by Mondo, who was another guy that was kind of in and out of Poison Idea. Two sad passings are Tom Pig Champion Roberts died in 2006. He was 47. And Stephen the Slayer Hippie Hanford died of a heart attack, age 50 in 2020. So I'm really stoked for this. This is way up there for me. One of my at least top 10 albums. What are your opening thoughts on it?
Well, full disclosure, I did not get into this band until much later. They kind of like slipped through the cracks for me, I guess. And so it wasn't like I grew up with them or even really heard about them when I moved out to the West Coast. They were a much later find. But yeah, they're really awesome. I love their sound encompasses all the punk rock sounds that I love. There's a bit of crossover there, some hardcore. The songs I like the most are the most hardcore songs of their catalog, especially on this album.
You mentioned West Coast, so they're from Portland, and they are Portland legends. If you go to Fifth Street Records in Portland, there's a whole shrine of Poison Idea t-shirts hanging off the roof and all their CDs and cassettes. I would assume Jerry A., has a connection with the record store and stocks them up on that stuff, but it's such a legend in that area. Like you said, they're kind of missed out on a lot of people. They were this punk band that was right alongside all the crossover bands, all the punk bands at the time, but kind of are always given the short stick or whatever.
To me, they have a lot of parallels with Dead Moon, another Portland band that are underground legends.
The first thing that comes to my mind is just the guitar tone on this album is just crushing.
As a guitar player, I agree 100%. There's so many, like looking at my notes, there's so many times that I wrote down excellent guitar tone. I guess to that point, like it's a very well recorded album.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not your sort of atypical, poorly recorded. It's an album, but it's actually should have been a demo. It's quite polished in its production, which really adds to the impact.
The first couple albums did have that, and other songs they put out did have that really garagey, like kind of crappy guitar sounds and production for that matter. They're still great, but this album, they really took it up a notch.
They knew what they were doing for guitar tone, that's for sure.
Yeah, and very smooth too. Like, yeah, it's harsh and abrasive, but I can only picture like the guitar players just like being so smooth on their frets. And every
Mhm.
single slide, it's impeccable. And then the
Yeah,
solos are just mind-blowing solos as well.
yeah, and there's definitely that kind of crossover metal influence you can hear
Yeah.
creeping in, which is, of course, age appropriate for the album.
It's actually kind of funny. I found out that Aldan Strychnine, who's the second guitar player, and they trade back and forth on the solos. It's in the credits, Pig solo, Aldan solo. He actually was only on this one album and then he was out of the band. Wow.
Hmm.
And he went on to be like a farmer or something. He's still in a band today, but he's like doing something else altogether.
Hmm.
And you can't talk about Poison Idea without talking about Jerry and his vocals and that really great baritone scream that he's got. The drumming is amazing too. The one thing I think about when I think about this band is just they're just a powerhouse, right? Like back in the day, and we'll talk a bit about when I saw them back in the day. They were just such a huge, powerful, scary band. There wasn't a band like that really that I knew of, at least in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, I mean, the way even the album begins, it's kind of grandiose and almost kind of hair metal or classic metal, very sort of ballady intro. And when I heard it, it's like, oh, what's going to happen next? It's a great lead in, and then it starts the Plastic Bomb, and halfway through that song, I was like, oh, I like this band a lot. They got the whoa lyrics, and as soon as they did that in the first chorus, I was in. Like I was an instant fan.
There's 39 minutes of music here, and that's not including the bonus track on the CD. And running through, like you said, Plastic Bomb, there's three or four really fast ragers. One of the things that I found interesting when I was listening in the car a couple of days ago is a lot of these songs are like a minute and a half, 2 minute long, and I always thought that they seemed more epic than that. The last song is almost 6 minutes, and there's other ones that are longer. Alan's on Fire, The Badge, Plastic Bomb are all longer, but minute and a half, 140, 150.
But they pack so much in there. It kind of blows you away about like how many great riffs and song ideas and catchy choruses, and then it's over.
So, what about individual songs? What stands out for you as some of your favorites?
The first three really, really slap, as the
Yeah,
kids say. Plastic Bomb, it brings back that nostalgic era of punk for me.
yeah.
The second track, Deep Sleep, definitely skate punk influenced, but also at the same time, very dark lyrical content.
The song that's always been the best song for me in this album, and also is probably like one of my favorite songs of all time, is Alan's on Fire. I can put it on repeat and just let it wash over me. But that song is my favorite song on this album and probably, like I said, top 10 5 songs of my life.
My first note on that is so good! Exclamation marks.
Yeah.
Cool bass guitar riff. Again, really dark, desperate, bleak.
So there's a couple songs near the end, actually Deep Sleep and also Nation of Finks and Backstab Gospel. They all sound like the earlier Poison Idea stuff, but with that beefy production. And then they went into some of this more epic stuff. The last song is a real epic anthem,
Mm.
and it's got the walk down. It's a good mix of, three or four really epic songs and then some fast ragers. I noticed that the band did share a lot of the song credits, so it wasn't just, I think the misconception maybe is that Jerry writes all these songs. I know later in the band he was the main person in the band that would kind of make all the music, but on this album they are firing with Pig Champion writing some, Aldine writing some, Mondo writing some, Jerry writing some.
Mhm.
I like that when a band does that. It's not just one voice for the whole thing. And they never got such a brutal production sound either before or after this record. So lyrics, I'll tell you the story of Alan's on Fire. I'm not sure if you know about this, and I'm not even sure if it's true, but the story here is that Jerry A heard about a guy who lit himself on fire in the front yard of his house after a family dinner. So sitting down with the family, eating dinner, like everything's normal, outside on the lawn, light yourself on fire, which, I mean, if that is true, it's pretty horrid.
That's pretty graphic. Yeah. Yeah.
So the lyrics are, I've called you here, my devoted family, time to watch me die. I'm not a martyr, but I am truth, and you are a liar. So now my life of constant sadness goes up in the fire. Whether it's a story or whether it's real, it's very impactful lyrics.
And so, so dark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In Nation of Finks, it's all about ratting out each other. And the first verse of the song is, when I was young, I had one law, be quiet about the things I saw. A kid who tells on another kid is a dead kid. Great, great line.
Yeah.
This band called Nation of Ulysses from DC, Discord Records, they wrote a song called A Kid Who Tells on Another Kid is a Dead Kid. And it seems to mock Poison
Oh,
Idea for maybe good reason. So Poison Idea put out an EP called Ian MacKaye as an Asshole. Have you heard about this?
no.
It's a picture of a guy spreading his cheeks, and over top of the asshole is Ian MacKaye as an asshole. So the thought was is that Nation of Ulysses were poking fun at Poison Idea there. So I don't know. It was
Mhm.
never really confirmed, but in the way that they sing it, it sounds like they're kind of mocking the Poison Idea version.
Never tell, never tell, never tell. I watch your pulse go still. There's only one more in this town. Yeah, if you don't know by now. A kid who tells another kid's a dead kid. Tells that another kid's a dead kid. Tells that another kid's a dead kid. Tells that another kid. If you gotta tell why, say why so. We know. Want to ride on a tombstone.
Do you have any other lyrics that stand out for you?
Well, I mentioned Alan's on Fire. I will be heard. I think that's now that I know the alleged backstory, it's even more bleak. And just to get away, responsibility made me quit. Sick of this motherfucking goddamn shit.
Yeah, these guys lived hard lives.
Yeah, and they talk about a lot of bleak stuff, but it's not overly lyrical, like witty or intellectual.
Yeah, for sure. Straight to the heart.
I think that just adds to how direct their sound and message was. They don't have the intellectualism of Bad Religion where you hear a word and you're like, oh, I got to get out my thesaurus. No thesaurus needed.
I think the lyrics come straight from living such a hard life. They were involved with
Mm-hmm.
substances, they're involved with violence, they're involved with all kinds of, alcoholism, things that were really trying on their lives as a band, not just individually. But one of the things that Jerry talked about after Pig Champion died, how the band was so kind of intertwined with substances and crime. And one of the things that he said was, Now that he's gone, I can say for sure that he became a drug dealer in high school, and that's pretty much what he did all of his life. Of course, he financed Poison Idea Records through all of that, and that's my life too, what I was exposed to. So we always have that element of that stuff that happens. Somebody rips you off, you got to get a gun and fucking take care of business. Quote Jerry A. So kind of gives you a peek into
Mm-hmm.
they were the real deal, you know? None of this was just done for show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think the bleakness of their lyrics and just their whole kind of general vibe, you can't really fake that or fake it for too long. They're just a really dark band.
Yeah. It got sad too. I mean, near the end of Pig being in the band, he was so fat that he couldn't stand up. He couldn't stand
Mm-hmm.
up and play. And so he would have to sit in a chair, and it was really painful for him. And at one point he just said, "Look, I
Mm-hmm.
can't do this anymore. Like I'm done. You know, I can't
Mm-hmm.
for sure can't tour. Like it's one thing to do a show in Portland, but to go on tour, I think he was I want to say he was over 500 pounds near the end of his life. So
Yeah, yeah.
it's a hard slog. They did a final show for him in 1993. They actually released it as a CD called Pig's Last Stand.
All the torment I've been through, never knew hell till I met you. Never saw you bleed to the foot, you would tell me to if you could, but in the back, garden of the light, not through the bar just like that. The moment I thought I saw something in your eyes, that's when I was there.
They're introduced as "Welcome the world's fattest junkies, Poison Idea." And the first thing that Jerry says is, "What's with the fucking barricade?" Then after this first song, he says, "We wouldn't have played if we knew there was a fucking
I
barricade."
just watched that YouTube video less than an hour ago. Yeah. It's kind of interesting psychologically at how, a lot of the band members were both mentally and physically unwell. You talk about their hard lives and drug abuse and alcoholism. They were a real mess.
Yeah, and self-harm too. Like he would cut himself with like he'd break a beer glass or beer mug and then cut his head open. And I saw them play, and there was the blood works there too. Pretty freaky.
Mm-hmm.
He would blow fire, so he would like put alcohol in his mouth, and then he would this big
Yeah.
huge flame and go out into the crowd. When I saw them do that in a small bar, I was just like, "Holy shit! Like what's going on?" I was a kid. I was like, "What is this?" They're a band that you watch and you're just like, what the hell is this? You know, you've got just so much fury coming at you, and they're just look like such dirt bags. And they are
Mm-hmm.
dirt bags, right? Not that I don't like dirt bags. Some of my best friends are dirt bags.
No, that's dirtbags in an affectionate way.
It is, yeah. They're really something to see live. And I saw them again later on in life. They played in Portland maybe like 15 years ago. And I actually saw them again in Victoria, but that was later on when they kind of had only Jerry was the original member in the band, and he had sort of put together a band. You know the story about that, how some old
Mm-hmm.
bands get back together. And it was not great, but still amazing to see them. I'm really happy that I got a chance to see them, especially back in the day.
Yeah, they must have been, yeah, just a real force.
Oh yeah. Some interesting little tidbits. So the album was actually reissued in 1996 by Epitaph, which was a bit of a head shaker for me. And then got reissued recently, 2024 by TKO/American Leather, which is Jerry's label. And it's got a double LP with some extra stuff on there. And it's really good. I actually picked it up a little while ago, and it's the second disc is actually, sometimes you get these albums and the second disc is just whatever, but this one's really, really cool.
That's the one I have as well.
There you go with the embossed lettering on the front.
Yeah.
So a couple sort of mainstream crossovers. So Pantera covered The Badge.
Stuck on this.
Young adults, just fantasy, reside in the academy. Fight the rules and must yourself, make your day. Unless you paid off, then you walk away. Do you think this corruption will ever stop? What makes a person wanna be a cop? Run around like zombies off the bus of God. Do you like to see us children cry? A couple up until you're for a little ride. But you get sucked up on the side. Sworn to serve and protect, forget the killing.
Machine Head, who is another metal band, They did a cover of Alan's on Fire, which is actually pretty good. I don't think it's nearly as good as the original, but it's worth a spin.
Never heard a word. This is the moment, for once in my life, I will be heard. I know there must be a better way, but I don't know how. You lied to me, and you ignored me, but you won't know. I will be heard.
In the sadder news, in December 2018, Metallica performed a cover of Poison Idea's Taken by Surprise.
There's a great band out here called Poison Idea. If you know the words, sing that, sing it like you read about it. Let's party. You ready? All right. I started? Okay, I started.
Oh,
Very
wow.
embarrassing. What it was Rob on bass and vocals and Kirk on guitar, and just the two of them. Lars and James aren't even there. It's so weird.
You're back getting off it.
Yeah. Yeah, Lars is backstage doing something. There's some little tidbits about how Poison Idea inspired the mainstream, I guess. I'm sure they inspired
Hmm.
so many bands, that punk and hardcore bands and even metal bands that aren't known as well, but that was the three that stood out. What do you think? Should we do some YouTube comments?
Yeah.
All right. There was lots of comments just saying, why are they shooting Tiny Tim? I guess on the front cover is a person holding a gun to Tiny Tim. And I don't know how they did this. Might have been before Photoshop, but they have basically the gun is superimposed with Tiny Tim's face being side profile, and it looks like super realistic. You wouldn't know that it was two photos pieced together.
And then I heard there was some kind of litigation, so they had to remove Tiny Tim from later editions.
Yeah.
Obviously the version we have has the photo back.
Yeah, I remember that they had ones that were just the gun. It wasn't nearly as cool as the Tiny Tim one.
Hmm.
Funny enough, the album that they took the image off of was the back cover of an album called God Bless Tiny Tim. I don't know what problem they had with him other than just because he was kind of like a hippy dippy singer guy. Like maybe that has something to do with it, or just annoying, I guess. Because he play like a little like a ukulele or something.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I too have wondered about the beef with Tiny Tim. They could have made a run of it. They could have had like Donovan getting decapitated or
Yeah.
Van Morrison up against the wall. They could have done a series.
Yeah. Here's one from 7 months ago on a similar theme. It says, "Why is he holding a gun to Alice Cooper?" Okay, fair enough. Lots of YouTube comments that thank Kurt Cobain for introducing them to Poison Idea. I guess he was a big fan of theirs, and I think he had a sticker on his guitar or something, or there's some sort of a famous
Yeah.
poster. Yeah.
Yeah, he had a sticker.
So lots of thanks to Kurt for introducing an amazing band to people maybe who hadn't heard something like Poison Idea before. Maybe the gateway to even bigger and better things. And then there's one here about Alan's on Fire, and it's 5 years ago, and it says, "This is so much better than Alexis on Fire."
I have friends that would disagree with that comment, but I like it. It's funny.
Any final thoughts?
It's a great, great album that more people need to hear, for sure. They're underground legends, but I will continue to spread the gospel, the dark gospel of this album. And yeah, it's kind of sad. It kind of reminds me, well, there's so many bands that are just self-destructive, but from that chaos comes this art. They weren't really faking the darkness of their lyrics. They were living it, which unfortunately cost them lives, but the darkness is not fabricated. It's genuine. They were living it.
Yeah, it's one of their realest punch in the guts you could listen to. You said spreading the
Hmm.
gospel. They do have that song called Backstab Gospel. So you're spreading the backstab gospel. This is one of the first CDs I ever bought.
Hmm.
I bought 3 CDs. It was Sepultura, Arise, Bad Religion, Against the Grain, and then this album, Poison Idea, Feel the Darkness. And I spun those
Mm.
so much for so long until I could go back down to Vancouver and buy more CDs because I lived in a small town. So it's been with me for almost 40 years.
Hmm. Yeah, getting there.
Makes me feel sad that people out there haven't heard this record because it's such a gem that's sitting right there for people to check out, and it gets overlooked a lot. I don't know if it just never got really the exposure at the time or the touring, but they're one of those bands that this album sits in a shelf in a record store or in your buddy's house and it does not get listened to, and it's just such a shame. Like every punk rocker, every metalhead should have this album in their collection.
Definitely agree. There isn't a dud on there. It's all great.
Don't forget to check out the Scream Therapy podcast, which is the regular podcast that we do about punk rock and mental health. And we're at episode 130 now. So that's pretty awesome and good milestone. It was time to take a bit of a
Hmm.
break there and do some more of these fun flex your head episodes. Scream therapy, obviously very important, and I know there's a lot of knowledge and all that stuff shared by people with mental health struggles, but it can get heavy sometimes. So we're going to do these for a while and go back when we're recharged. So go to screamtherapyhq.com for information about the podcast, my book, and just whatever else is going on.
Get the book. Get the book. It's
I only have a
great.
few copies left, so let's get it while you can, I guess. Well, thanks a lot for doing this, Nelson. It's been rad to go and spin this album again and really get back into the groove. Now I need to figure out a way to ease back out and not get too trapped
Mhm.
into it. It's a hard one to stop listening to.
Thanks for having me again.
All right, we'll see you soon.
Flex your head!